Okay, so into the next game, and we're black for this one. So we're going to try out our Caracan defense. I was a bit unsure how to use it in this one. I didn't really know what the right move would be, again, after the first 2 pawns. So I actually used my game review after this one to sort of go through that. If you'd be interested to see my game reviews and sort of like what advice it gives for things like a Caracan opening, let me know and I'll get posting that in the next video. Yeah, so he took my knight like so. His bishop's then hanging, so I'll take that. And I felt overall like I pretty much won the opening in the fact that I was a pawn up and I felt much better sort of positionally on the board, looking at where my pieces are and how they're activated, how I could castle either side compared to my opponent. So I came up like so, took his pawn again, now I'm 2 pawns up, which I felt was quite a successful opening. So I then took this opportunity to castle. He's then trying to threaten my queen, so I'll check him. So I'm just basically just trying to make my queen as much of a nuisance as possible. I purposely tried to hang my bishop here, thinking he'd think I'd blundered it, but actually it's backed up by my knight. Yeah, so I'm just going around, taking a free pawn, checking his rook. I didn't realise that I left my own knight wasn't actually supported. That was a bit of a mistake, to try and kick his queen away. Then went for a rook trade, because I believed in my ability to sort of bring it back against this guy. I also didn't realise how long my rook was hanging for in the bottom right-hand corner, but alas, we progress. And it basically went through this series of that I'm trying to be a nuisance in the back file, and he is trying to get rid of me. We take for take. He's just trying to pin my queen down. But at this minute, I realise I'm a minute ahead of him, and he's taking a lot of thinking time between each go. Look at that, 322 to 237. He then, I think he thought he had a checkmate on me here, because with his rook at the back, his queen at the front, he's trying to pin me down. However, we're not going to fall for that. We're going to get straight out. He's threatening my queen here with his rook. But I can just, get out of that, force a check, force him to move. I was trying to pin him in here. I was trying to pin him in even. I was going to move my queen to c2 and just try and get a pawn or get a check or get something. Just be a bit irritating. I don't know if he tried to initiate a queen trade or he just did this by mistake and was just trying to check my king. But this is where I took the perfect moment. I was like, right, this guy, again, I don't know why it took him 16 seconds to decide what to do. I was like, okay, I'm so far up on time. I am just going to win on time. Like, I don't think he can checkmate me in a minute. So play relatively sensible. Just try and walk my pawns up the board. He's obviously trying to check me this whole way. But he runs out of time at 36 minutes. It's 36 seconds even. He decides he's not going to play again. And we get the cheeky dub. Cannot complain. Okay guys, so we're black again here with the potential to get up to 600 this game. He plays the most common opening in a game here. Take, he goes for the check, I block. I don't think this is part of the common opening though. I don't think you're meant to threaten the king like that and lose a bishop. But okay, nevertheless, we've got 2 pawns in the centre like so, and a threat to his queen on the outside. I wasn't expecting this cut back inside. I know I sort of left a pawn hanging there. And then, yeah, just tried to kick his queen away. Didn't think about castling for whatever reason. It didn't cross my mind. But keep threatening his queen, keep pushing her back. Then we offer a knight swap. I know he's a pawn up, but again, I'm just sort of backing myself to do better. And then I'm going to threaten his queen like that and realise I've won his castle at the back. Although that is about as far as the good deeds that bishop has done this game go. Okay, I get to threaten his queen a bit. Again, I'm hoping he takes that knight by mistake. Realising it's quite protected, I'll then check him like so. And then take his bishop at +3 up. I'm feeling pretty confident. He then does this. For whatever reason, I completely forget that my bishop has him in his sights. I don't know what was going on with me. So I lose my queen, but it's okay. He then goes back to the same position. I then move out of the way. He then takes a pawn. He then goes back to the same position and takes my castle. My god, I've had a shocking series of events. Anyway, I finally get that knight gone. He then threatens to take my rook. I protect it. And I'll be honest, guys, I'm sort of running out of ideas here. He's got 7 minutes on the clock, and I wasn't really sure what to go for. Although I did really impress myself here with a discovered check like so. And because it's check, he then can't take my knight. That's on e4. I then thought I'd forked his queen or his rook to take one of them. He then threatens my king again. I'll then able to take his rook. He then does that. So I'll then put him in check because he's in the corner. I didn't know if there's something fancy I could do here where I was able to check him as in using my knight and my rook in tandem, but I wasn't quite able to. He then checks me, takes my rook. At this point, I was so close to quitting, I'll be honest. I was minus 12 down, but I thought, no, we're going to stick it out. We're going to play to the end. And the next move, he blunders his queen. What a shocker from him. And then he doesn't even take my knight back, and then I take his knight. And then I've gone from, in 2 moves, 12 down to blinking parity. What has gone on? I honestly don't know. And then from here, the end game is all mine. Like, he just starts giving me his pawns to eat up. So I've been practicing my end game a bit the last few games. Come over, like so. It's all relatively simple. Like, there's nothing really too fancy to it. Although I was really worried at one point that we were going to end up drawing the game. It got to here, and I was like, oh, like, I even texted him something like, this is an annoying draw. Oh, okay, he's no longer available to chat, but I texted him saying, this is an annoying draw. But I forgot I could just back my king off, let him take my pawn. The game's still alive. I can then promote in the far corner. And then from here, it was all over. It was just a matter of checkmating him using a queen. Job done. It doesn't show up here. My rating then got to 599. So close yet so far. Right, guys, this game we're black again. And he plays a move against Karakan I haven't seen before. He almost kept pushing that pawn as it was unopposed. So I allowed like that so I could develop naturally and take with my knight. So I thought at this point I was doing really well and sort of controlling and dominating things. Castled like so. Like, I just feel like I've got much better development. He went for the queen trade. Now, I notice he can take straight back with his knight. So what I tried to do was play my knight beyond that to win his pawn and look to try and fork his king and his rook. That isn't quite how it worked out, but I took his knight anyway. And at this point, he's actually +3 up because I just let him take my castle as soon as I moved. I took my eye off that, so that is something I really shouldn't have done. From here, it was really downhill. He just carried on taking my pieces. It wasn't really happening for me. He had me pinned, and then I was sort of 12 down. There really was not much I could do here. And yeah, it eventually ended up, after a lot of checks and a lot of pinning, where I thought I'd come back like this, just to 7, down to 6. He's then from here, inevitable checkmate. Fair play to him.